I'm Quent.
I'm Nora. Aaron. Let's go with that. I'm not redoing this intro.
Not once. Not once have we ever managed to do it right. And together, we make Quent Aron.
Yeah, well, I like consistency, and I hate this camera angle, so I'm gonna have to use some very technical
She's
stuff
gonna
here.
fix things. It's actually been a
Would you
while
like to
since
see what
we've
it
done a
is?
podcast because we've had so many technical difficulties. One with my internet being super crappy. So I got to spend a weekend digging a trench with a pickaxe and all of the archaic tools to try to get modern technology. It's not a good thing. But hopefully it's been fixed.
Well, it wasn't all just technical issues. Let's
Oh.
tell the truth. There were some broken limbs involved.
That was point one.
There
That
was
was
some-
what ended our last podcast was the technical issues, which hopefully have been resolved. And yes,
I think actually what ended our last podcast was
Yeah.
that I cried.
that
I'm
ended
pretty
our
sure that
last
ended it.
attempted podcast. We never aired that one.
It's really for the
Yeah.
best, I believe.
So yes, there's also been a broken limb. My older daughter decided that it was fun to jump off retaining walls, and now she has a screw holding her foot together. And we're just crossing our fingers that there are no permanent growth plate problems.
Well, she was just trying to copy me because I was already in the
Fashion
boot for my
sense.
foot, so copycat. Yeah. And my oldest both shipped out and has returned from boot camp. And oh yeah,
That was a
I
big one.
finished my BSN.
That is a big one. You finished
Yeah,
your
it's a big one.
BSN, and
That
I
was-
finished my prereqs for my upcoming BSN program.
Yes, and as of yesterday, I got the call. All of my credits are good.
Graduate.
I'm a graduate.
Yes.
And now I just have to figure out a job in real life.
Real life
but
is no
that's
fun.
no
I'd
fun.
much rather do this.
Agreed. The real life is considerably less fun. And I have to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And I'm only 50,
You
so I
still
don't
got
think
time.
I'm there yet. I think we're getting on the downside of time.
It's all relative. So I did want to do a big shout out to my buddy Jason, who helped us kind of finalize our contest entry with Troubled Waters, which is the first book that we finished and have been pursuing publishing. And we've bitched a lot about doing like another editing for like final edits on it. But he helped us get it kind of in pristine condition for the contest entry. And hopefully we will be hearing about that sometime between now and like September or October, somewhere in there.
Not only is Jason a super talented editor, beta reader, explainer of commas and all of their ills, he's a really super talented writer who has his own series that we're reading through now, which I'm super excited about and I think is going to be pretty epic. And we will have to share links to that when it's ready to go,
Yes.
because we're cool and we
Yes.
want to be associated with the cool
It's
kids
the in
like
crowd.
Jason.
We can have letter jackets, whatever those might. No,
Oh,
we
we're
haven't
definitely not
reached
cool
that
enough
level.
for that. We might be able to get. No, we might be able to get like
I
name
like
tags.
the throwaway sticker name tags.
Yeah, we don't get the hang on your neck name tags. We are not cool enough, nor can we be
This is
trusted
true.
with that. Actually, since we're both nurses, we'd probably take the name tag and try to open doors with it. Why isn't this working? Oh yeah, it's not a
an
house.
access badge.
It's not the hospital.
Just a name tag, which is probably the most disappointing thing ever then. So anyway, that has occupied
Yeah.
most of our downtime and trying to get us squared back away. It's not downtime. It's our off time.
What
That's why we
downtime?
haven't. That's why we
This
haven't
is
been
downtime.
around. Know what I mean and don't listen to what I
This is
say.
downtime.
God.
No, I had to give up my
Ugh.
superpowers to be human.
Poor
So I
choices.
can't do that. I did redo this room just so we could,
Yeah.
in part, so we could
It
record
looks
out
great.
here.
I've seen pictures.
But
Maybe Nora will, or Aaron. Damn it. Maybe.
whatever. I think we've blown my secret identity at this point. Hey, fun fact: Nora is Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron spelled backwards is Nora. I'm so smart, so clever. Never figured that one out. I'm pretty sure we came up with that
Because
alcohol
clearly
played a
sober's
factor.
not doing so well. But yeah, someone was going to create a Pinterest board of how absolutely amazing that porch turned out and hasn't done it. But when we do,
I can't figure out if anybody knows how you upload photos to Pinterest. Please tell me photos that you take yourself, because it's amazing.
yeah,
It's so cool. Shout out to my sister-in-law Sharon, who actually helped make that happen. But
we
please,
could.
we could put it on our website, because I'm sure people who are into action, comedy,
Slash home
drama,
design.
crime, really. Well, and I think that's kind of gets back to what we write about, is like, it's not going to be a true life story, because it's not. It's fiction. But we want to have it sound like real conversations and real actions and real things that real people would do in a made-up situation. I don't really think that Cruiser would ever have an in-depth discussion about relationships, even if he was being held hostage by a therapist who insisted he do it or die, because it's just not in his character, his nature, or appropriate for the situation. So no matter how much we want to move the plot forward by getting this resolved, we can't just use our magical godlike powers of being the creator of this universe to do it, because this universe has its own rules, and generally they're like, fuck you right off. You want this to happen?
The one thing that's not going to happen? What you wanted. Yeah. And the thing is,
sucks to be you.
Eventually, they wind up resolving their issues on their own in ways that we couldn't have predicted. Like they naturally wind up figuring themselves out. So, and when they don't, things kind of come to a head on their own, and they wind up having to figure it out anyway.
Oh, no. There's really no choice. They either figure it out, or they end up dead, because
that's frowned upon. That whole death thing.
Well, sometimes they gotta die, but generally we prefer when we pick the time. But sometimes, much like our patients, it's very hard to keep them alive.
Chance, Fletcher. Emery has a honed sense of self-survival. She's the only one that's like, oh, there are guns. I'm going to go over here where there's ice cream and coffee.
Just going to duck down behind the car, and I'm going to go for safety, and you guys do your thing. I'm going to trust you on that, and I'm going to be calling an Uber, or perhaps a combat cab to get out of Dodge. Though you could argue if she truly had an advanced sense of self-preservation,
she's
she would
broken
not be hanging out with
That's
them.
The whole point. Yeah.
Well, and it's also what she knows, what she's good at, and she does this and works in this world to keep information, to keep her safe, to isolate her, to insulate her. But in order to get that information, you have to expose yourself. And she doesn't know how to not work. And I think in her own way, she's almost like Dex with this really strong sense of right and wrong and moral outrage, which she would never admit, and more than just over the fact that somebody would dare put plaid with her mace. Are you insane? Are you a monster? Those are Louis Vuittons. And you wore them with denim cutoffs. That's more like ethical outrage. But she has a very deep sense of right and wrong. Probably like right up there with Cruiser.
Black and white in his
which
right
may be
and wrong.
why. Yeah. And
No, he's not.
ironically, he's never like wrong. He's never, even
Although,
when he's wrong.
the very few times that he
Oh, I'm
thinks
just
he's
an
wrong
asshole.
is the
That is
times
not
where it's
an excuse.
actually not wrong.
I don't know if he ever
There's,
thinks he's
yes.
wrong, he just
Yeah.
thinks he's
Yeah,
bad.
because what comes to mind is the whole, like, Cruiser Katie situation where he thinks he's just a bad person for wanting her, and, uh, and then he's wrong, and he shouldn't be. And he wants it and he's wrong, and it's very sad, and that's just him and his brokenness.
Well, and it gets to a point where he is more comfortable thinking he's bad and awful and building a dream fantasy life with a person that he can't have nor should he have because they are
Yeah.
not
To- totally
compatible as
incompatible.
lovers. But he's willing to actually shortchange a woman who is compatible and does love him that way and can handle him for this fantasy of being a bad guy versus a good guy
Hmm.
equal partner. Because
Yes. Yes, we
cruiser
have
vision.
coined the term cruiser vision because it is so unique. And as soon as you say cruiser vision, you're like, oh
No,
yes, because he sees it this way. There's a very much tunnel kind of cruiser vision, and then all of the outside perspective stuff where none of that makes sense, and would release him from all of this like guilt he's got. Doesn't really come into things. He's just head headstrong into the cruiser vision.
if you'd really like to know what cruiser vision is, take one of the friendliest pit bulls you've ever met, strap a GoPro to its head, and then take like peanut butter and freeze it inside of a Kong ball and throw it, and watch what that dog will do to get that Kong ball. Everything else ceases to exist except the peanut butter in the Kong ball.
Yes.
That is cruiser every day, all the time. This is my world. Why are you in it?
Yes. Although Emery and Cruiser have butted heads on how the lengths of which she will go, even in her sense of right and wrong.
Over what?
Kim,
No, like over how far she'll go with
the what?
Buddy. I don't know which scenes you're talking about.
Kim and her fingers and her attachment to them,
First of all, it's
way over his line.
Kimmy. It's
It's
Kimmy.
Kimmy.
Oh, it's not way over his line. It's something that he is firmly aware really needed to happen. Like she had to be stopped.
Eventually.
She had to be stopped. And deep down he knows no one else there could have done it. And it would have taken out both Fletcher and Chance. And had already taken Fletcher down to his knees. So he is horrified at the methods, but satisfied with the result of Kimmy being a non-factor. And Embry herself is not a huge fan of having to do that. But she's also not going to bury two family members because a low-grade, very poor con is trying to play a game with her family.
She's not even a con, she's just a user.
Which is a con. It's a low-grade con you don't think about. It is. Yeah, you're using someone to get something and you're conning them by lying and manipulating. And first of all, that's Emery's territory. And second of all, you don't do that to people who are too fragile to take it. You don't do that to people for fun. You don't do that to people who don't deserve it. And where you fall in that line with her is interesting. But you don't mess around with kids. You don't mess around with people who are weaker than you. You don't mess around with soft targets. If you want to go in and lie and use somebody, you better be getting like a huge payoff. Like they've stolen something, they're doing something bad, they're assholes in their own right, and you are just resetting the scales of nature while maintaining some secrets and property to keep yourself right as you reset the scales.
Yes.
She does not see herself in any way, shape, or form as a force for justice, but that's kind of completely what drives her.
Yeah. Yeah, she does have her own sense of right and wrong and who she is willing to manipulate and use for her purposes.
Yeah, Bernie's on the move. Hold on. Okay, he's still inside. Good. Um, yeah, and her, I think in a way she's just trying to be the protector she didn't get. And there's a deep level of empathy there that she can't admit to because empathy is a weakness. You can't afford to like people.
Cannot. And that's largely where her and Chance are very similar in that. Like, he sees emotion and empathy as weakness as well, and he wants nothing to do with it. He wants nothing to do with any of the feels. I don't think Chance has a very strict.
Oh, I think Chance wants all the feels with none of the commitment. Chance wants to feel everything and all of the pleasure and then be gone before there is any type of payback for it.
But he doesn't want like the
Emery
emotional investment. It's all very surface level.
Emery will happily forego the pleasure part of that just to not be involved. Which is why she turned him down flat
A gazillion
when they
times.
first met. Yeah, no, he could not figure out why,
No.
even though she flat out told him, no.
Oh,
Nope,
yeah, no, we're not going to
gonna
listen
get
to that.
involved with you. Not going to get involved with you because I would inevitably have feelings and you would walk all over them. I would not survive you. We're not going to do this game. You are too
I'm
much like me. The
confused.
answer is no. Nope, no. You are cute and adorable and got a little something on your chin and I'm out.
I went from very cute and very sexy, and now why are you momming me? Like, what is going on here? Like, I'm confused.
He doesn't
does
get
not,
that she moms
He does
him.
not get at all
No.
that she moms him, but he gets on a visceral level that it's wrong and it doesn't align with his wants for her
Well,
or
and
anyone.
she doesn't get that she moms any
Yes.
of them. This is just clearly what you do, and there's no momming involved. Because he's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful boy that I want no parts of.
So pretty, and he knows it. He flaunts.
Yeah, you know, the 20 minutes of feeling great and a lifetime of memories, not worth what it's going to cost. So,
But
I'm good,
but
thanks.
isn't it?
And Chance is like, well,
It was like, I'm
but you
I'm
could feel
confused.
good. You could feel
Like-
good. But so why? What do you mean consequences?
No, no consequences. It feels good right there in the moment. Feels great.
Yes, this is also why Chance runs and Emery
Yeah,
doesn't.
there's no planning in Chance's world.
Oh, it's unacceptable.
Immediate gratification.
Emery's like gratification. What is
Yeah.
that?
Yes. Which I really love that we have two very similar characters in the idea that they are both cons, and they're like, in a lot of ways, the male and female versions of each other, but the way they approach things and their backgrounds and their hang-ups are completely different. So,
And their motivations and their actions, they do the same things
but the
and have the common interests, but they're completely different motivations and ways.
yes, yeah, the tactics are completely different. The reasons that their tactics are completely different are just tied up in completely different backgrounds, and it creates two very, very different characters, even though there's a lot of fundamental sameness to them.
Yeah. Well, that's why characters have to drive the story,
Yes.
even though they drive you nuts.
Yes. Then that is the great thing about backstory.
I'm talking to you, Wolf. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
talking
do we
to
really
you.
want to get into Wolf?
For being the pain in the ass who won't do what you want? Yeah. Yeah, because he makes Cruiser look like a little kitten.
Yes, he does.
Like, meow, I'm a little happy kitten. Goes, like, oh my god. Massive ego.
Yes.
I mean, he needs a massive ego, but he also needs shot in the ass a few times.
Yes. Which he gets. With a few ego checks. Until his world crumbles, and then he really has to figure his own shit out. As what really I love is Wolf is in charge of all of these like super broken characters, and he's very aware that they all have issues, and he largely calls them out and is like, you need to fix your shit, and we need to get this taken care of because this doesn't work long term. But at the end of the day, the one that is the most destructive and takes the longest to actually figure out that he's got problems and start working on them is Wolf.
Oh, I think Wolf is well aware of his shortcomings, and he will admit when he's wrong. And like in a very Cruiser way, okay, it's wrong, I'll try to fix it. But when it comes to the end there, when he thinks he's really lost everything, and he's really got no team and no woman left to motivate him, no job, no mission, he just falls hard. Like he tumbles down, he knows he's got shit to fix, and he doesn't want to. Which I think makes it 1,000 times worse.
Yes.
Because he has no hope or reason to fix it.
Yes, and I mean, largely, like, throughout his entire career, he's had a goal to work towards. He's had focus. He's had... Always. There's never...
Not largely. Always.
Yeah.
From the time he was 5.
Yes, there's always been this distraction, this focus that he can have that's not on him.
Yeah, it's always a drive.
You take that all away, and what do you have left? Apparently a highly volatile, unstable, crazy person.
Trained killing machine with no moral compass anymore.
Zero moral compass, apparently. This is what we've discovered.
And he's a leader who has nothing left to lead.
Yeah.
At that point, when he thinks that she's gone and the team's gone and he can't fix it, and he's got nobody to blame but his own actions, he just falls and wallows in filth, and then actually kind of goes to figure out ways to almost sort of punish himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think as very well aware that the initial dynamic with Wolf and Emery through most of the series actually has the potential to be incredibly unhealthy, because she is so very dependent on him to be the place to feel, to supplement that. When, as much as that he loves her and needs her, he knows that she's her weakness, and she will always come back to him, and that gives it a completely unfair balance of power and dynamic. And when she
he uses
off
that
to deal with her shit, I mean, it doesn't make him a bad person, but if he was a different type of person, she could be in a really, really dangerous situation. And he's well aware of it. He uses it to his advantage. It's what makes him a great leader.
Yes, because he always has a goal, and he knows how to get to that goal. And that is something so innate to him that you can't take it out of his personal life.
Well, and it realizes she's beyond a goal. She's not the end point. She's the journey, and his one go back and well, she'll never leave me.
Yes.
Like, I know I can fix this. When she walks off to fix herself, and that dynamic no longer becomes unequal in power, and he has to face the fact that he could actually lose
Mm-hmm.
her, and firmly believes he has, it's the final
Yeah.
straw. He gives up on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, because he
And
becomes very aware of the fact that he made all of the decisions leading up to the long con, and it wound up just imploding in such
the,
significant ways that it destroyed a lot of the team, and that's on him because he didn't include the rest of them, and that
it was
decision,
bad decision.
it well, and it was his decision, and he has to own that.
Oh,
But that's also the reason that drove her away, and he knows there's no recovering from that because they've thought about that before, and he's promised that he wouldn't do it, and
he wouldn't lie
he
to her
wouldn't lie to
again.
her again, and he didn't think twice about it, and she called him on it because he's so
And
wrapped up in this idea that she will always be his, and all he's going to have to do is smile and unbutton his shirt and flex and say, you know what, I'm sorry, but it was for the best, and it's what I could do, and that's going to be it. And then that doesn't happen because she's truly hurt, and she finally realizes that she needs to fix herself, and that throws everything out of balance to a point that
oh,
he can't.
what she realizes is beyond that she needs to fix herself. What she realizes is she has worth and
Yeah,
value,
and it.
and that you don't lie to someone for 4 months, do something that is so against everything. You don't lie to your team. It's all the core values Wolf has. It's all team. It's that you don't lie. It's truth. And he just chucks them all out to get what he wants. And I think it's this focus of he's so sure she'll always be there because he's one who's really got the power in this situation that he can just go ahead and do this and she'll get
Yep.
over it.
Yep, he'll explain it
He
away.
doesn't think twice about hurting her to really get what he wants. Now, arguably, this is something super important with other ramifications, but his decisions were wrong, and if anyone else on the team had made them, he'd have called them
Mm-hmm.
out.
Absolutely.
But, he purposely set it up like this, and she's aware, and she knows good and damn well that he will continue to do that, and she can't take that. Like, it almost kills her. So, and when she walks and he can't hunt her down, can't convince her to come back, when she actually does stuff to protect herself, and then the team is like, nah, she gets to do this, Wolf.
He loses his ever-loving mind.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a goal anymore with the team. He probably doesn't have a team. He's almost destroyed everyone. And the one person he could always count on to be there to fix him, and the person he thought he really had more power over, turns out she had that same power over him. And he never knew it. And now he's come back to bite him in the ass, and he is a straight dick. I mean, we know Cruiser can be a dick. We know they can all be a dick, but the level of dickery, it's like,
It's bags
Johnny Hot
bags
Wad,
of dicks for
Johnny Hot
Jags.
Wad Holmes level. No, it's like Johnny Hot Wad Holmes. It's like dick. Like, even as we're writing it, we're like, wow, what a dick.
Oh, yes. So many side notes of I'm so sorry. Enter. There's why I'm sorry.
And we haven't got there yet, but he's going to have to own his level of dickishness, which went well outside of his own moral code. And he's got something that he's going to have to tell Emery that, well, you were gone, and I went out and slept with did a lot of questionable things, and I'm gonna need a lot of blood
Yeah,
work
for several
before we
months.
can really,
Yeah,
yeah,
lots,
before we can
all of
really,
the months, all of the tests.
well, and he's gonna have to tell her that,
So,
he wasn't faithful.
yeah, yes. While I crushed you, broke you to the point where you were shattered and had to get away from me to help get yourself back, I
Seek mental health
yes.
treatment. And he knows that's where she's at,
Yes,
and that
and
is just
that is
no.
when he loses his mind and he fucks half the world of hookers and low class
No,
women.
they're
They're
not
not
hookers.
hookers.
It's
That's
worse.
cruiser.
They're broken.
They're just sad
Broken.
broken people who make poor
It
choices.
it it makes him kind of more disgusting because
It's
they're sort of vulnerable
they're
too.
incredibly vulnerable and it's incredibly predatory and it's sadly very real. Like
Hmm.
I
It's
mean, go to
exactly
a
what
strip
he
club and you
could
can't
be.
tell me that there's not any of like a dozen of those women and men in there for the exact same
Strip
reasons.
strip club, dude. You can see that in any
It's
mall,
true. True. Strip clubs came to mind
any
though,
happy hour. Because
because
he didn't go to a strip club to pick these women up. He just
well,
went out and there they
that's
are.
because there's not a strip club where we have them, because that would require like a larger
I
type
don't think
town.
I
It
don't think
doesn't
Wolf
matter.
would have. No, I don't think Wolf would have any interest in the strip club because
I
that
wasn't
is
saying he
nothing
was.
he
I was
needs.
using it as an example that though it's easy to find that kind of person because they're all over. And there are strip
Because
clubs
they're
aplenty where I live, so that's what's came to mind.
But I'm just saying these people are
They
everywhere.
are.
These people are people that that in ways you are. They're very real women who really the smart ones just leave and don't come back. But the most broken of the lot is the one he really owes the biggest apology to.
Yes.
And it'll be interesting to see what Emery does with that because, well, Emery might sleep with a guy or two for the job. There is no attachment
No.
whatsoever. Actually, Emery never does. Vivara does, or Amelia does, or Suzanne, or whoever she is that day may have to in a
It's never
pinch, but
Emery.
that's just work. What Wolf does is not just work. And then, like, we've got him back to the point where we haven't really seen him own all this and own up to it and start to make it right, which I do think he will. And how he's going to have to work with
Yeah. Yes, we are at the
being
point where we
human,
have them
accepting
all kind of
flaws,
hot mess in that book.
knowing that.
I said, yeah, in that book, which we refer to as the Long Con, um, we have them written up to the point where they're all kind of a hot mess, and they're at the point where resolution is in the near future. We just haven't actually gotten that taken care of.
We've resolved some of
A
them.
couple of them in the works, but as far as tying up loose ends and getting the larger points of resolution going on, they're still in the works. So that is it. We will be back. We're going to try to get some videos put together so that we have an ability to upload about once a week, and nobody gets to hold us accountable for that because that's just it's a pipe dream on promises. So yay or nay, it may not happen. Hopefully it will, but real life gets in the way of all of it. And considering it took us about 45 minutes to get all of our technical problems worked out before we were able to do this, there's always that too. All right, that is it for us for today.
Bye, guys.